As San Francisco grapples with record-high drug overdoses, the city is calling on the feds. Our media partner, the San Francisco Standard, has a new article out today on the city's drug crisis, saying the feds plan to ramp up prosecutions. Joining us live now to talk about what he's found, the Standard senior reporter Josh Kane. Hey, Josh.
Hey, Kristen. How are you?
Good, thanks. So you say federal prosecutors are planning to take a more aggressive approach. How did this come about?
Yeah, so actually, it's not something that's been formally announced. It's actually probably going to be a few weeks to about a month until all authorities get together and actually make this formal announcement. But talking to some of my sources, I got a tip that basically, hey, you might want to be looking out for something down the line because with all of the coordination going on with local officials and federal law enforcement, there is going to be a marked shift in the way that drug dealing cases are prosecuted in San Francisco. As you know, the overdose crisis from fentanyl and other drugs has been out of control this year at an unprecedented rate. And so it seems like this is going to be a so-called new strategy that they employ for the last half of the year to really try and get a handle on these drug dealing cases.
How bad have things gotten? I think you have numbers in your article.
Yeah, right now there's, I believe, been roughly around 460 overdose deaths in the first half of this year. By comparison, it was in the mid-600s last year. So, you know, we're looking at well over 900 pace for this year. I believe the highest on recent record was a little over 700. And so what we've seen in the first half of 2023, is just an unprecedented rate of deadly overdoses. And there's new drugs on the streets that are just more deadly. There's a drug called Tranq that actually rots people's skin. It's really, grim stuff.
Yeah.
And so when we look at these numbers, it's not that they have started charging drug users actually to try and get them into treatment and get them off the streets. Very, very few people are accepting treatment. So they're looking now, how do we get to disrupt the drug trafficking markets? And doing that with federal prosecutors, with federal cases, they believe is going to be a new strategy that really disrupts operations.
Right. Okay. So I know they're still working out the details and they're not ready to announce it yet. But what do you know about which agencies are involved and what exactly it'll entail in terms of just getting, the prosecutions into federal court and why that might be more effective?
Yeah, so this is a absolutely multi-agency operation. The U.S. Attorney's Office is obviously going to be a very lead role in this because they are the ones that prosecute federal cases. The Drug Enforcement Agency, more commonly just referred to as the DEA, they are absolutely deeply involved in this. But it also then drills down to the San Francisco Police Department, the District Attorney's Office, even the Mayor's Office. They've been meeting for weeks, trying to get all their ducks in a row and make sure everyone's on the same page, which is something actually District Attorney Brooke Jenkins said in a statement. She's really happy to hear that San Francisco, or happy to see, I should say, San Francisco is not operating in silos like they have in past years where, not everyone's swimming in the same direction, which, hard to say if this is really going to disrupt drug trafficking in San Francisco, which is an entrenched issue over decades. But at the very least, you would expect that there's no way to get success if agencies are actually opposing one another in their priorities.
Yeah. Look, San Francisco has a complicated history of working with the feds, right? Sometimes it's over cannabis or maybe it's over Sanctuary City, things like that. In this case, any concerns about getting the feds involved in investigating and charging, drug cases here?
Yeah, there's definitely concern. I spoke with the San Francisco Public Defender's Office, and they absolutely feel like this is just kind of like window dressing on past operations that attempted and failed. There's also concerns that, people who are undocumented could be swept up in this, and that maybe federal court is being used as an end around to get around sanctuary policies for San Francisco. The people I spoke with who are involved in this operation that's going to be announced suggested that that is not necessarily the case, but there's no doubt that actually there is a belief that many of the drug dealers in San Francisco are undocumented. And we have seen in recent history, just in 2019, there was a federal operation in the Tenderloin, and it led to dozens of undocumented immigrants being deported. So there's a question of whether or not this new operation is going to employ some kind of tactics to basically get people off the streets, maybe if found guilty, put in federal prison, and then potentially deported, or if this maybe just acts as a deterrent and basically sends a tougher signal to people that are involved in these illegal drug markets.